I want to talk to you about safety and why it is so important. Every single day, thousands of workers are out on the job and don't realize how close they could have come to having a safety hazard. We take a lot of things for granted when we're at work. And believe me, you have to be focused not only on what you're doing, but also on what people are doing around you. You know, when I first learned to drive, I remember my driving instructor telling me, always get the big picture in front of you. Don't just look ahead. Look to your left, look to your right, look up, look down. Well, the same thing can be said for being on the job and having a safe-minded attitude about what you're doing. Because just looking ahead, you might not see a hazard directly to your left. So let's talk about safety today. First of all, we talked earlier about being properly dressed and making sure that you are ready for the work at hand. If you know that your assignment is going to take you into cold temperatures, you wouldn't want to show up for work in a tank top and shorts, I bet. So to talk about that for a moment, if you know you're working in a cold environment, you want to check and find out, is the client company providing any type of special gear, such as a freezer suit, any type of special shirt or pants? You want to ask that question before you start work. And if that's not the case, what are you required to bring to the job site? Possibly you need to bring different layers of clothing that you can remove or add on as you see fit during the workday. And if you're working outside, you want to make sure that you're protected from the elements with proper jacket, and again, proper pants, and possibly a hat. And in some cases, you might want to have a pair of gloves on you at all times. The other thing I want to talk about is visual. When you're outside and you're starting a shift early in the morning, you want to inquire if a safety vest is required in that type of work, where there are reflective elements on that safety vest so that you can be seen safely early in the morning before it gets light out. You might be on a truck making a delivery in a dark alley or a busy dark parking lot. Again, you want to be seen. So again, take an interest in your own safety by making sure you're wearing the proper items. And then in terms of the workplace, there are things we absolutely always want to remind you to avoid. If you're in a warehouse and you see a loose pallet, which is an item that's used as a platform to stock merchandise, if you see a loose pallet in your way on the floor, the first thing to do is you should politely let a supervisor know about it. But most importantly, never step on it. Pallets are not designed to hold the weight of a person. And chances are you're either going to break through it or get your ankle lodged in between the planks of wood. And that is a very easy way to twist an ankle, or much worse, break an ankle. So you want to avoid that safety hazard by never stepping on it. Also, when you enter a building, you want to scope it out. You want to know where the fire doors are. You want to make sure you know how to get out of that building in the case of an emergency. And also, if in fact it's a very warm environment, you want to dress appropriately for that as well. And the best way to be prepared is to ask questions of your action supervisor before you go out on the job. Because they know the facilities, they will be familiar with the working environment, and they will be able to advise you accordingly. So please, take an interest in your safety by keeping your eyes open, yourself alert, and ask questions. Because we want to bring you back safe. We want you to have a good, productive day. And by the way, if in the event you do get injured, let's talk about procedure. Let's talk about how you handle that situation. Now, first of all, we're going to work very, very hard together between our relationship with you and the client to reduce the chances of having an accident. But in the event one happens, you need to know how you're supposed to handle it. First of all, if you are injured, or something happens where you don't feel comfortable to continue working, the very first thing you do is notify the supervisor at the client company. Let that person know what happened to you, how you're feeling, what your overall status of situation is. I want to be clear about this. If it's a bruise, an ache, a pain, and it's not a life-threatening injury, the best first action to do after you advise the supervisor is to determine if you need to take a break or if you can continue working. If you decide to continue working and the problem does not worsen, at the end of the day, you want to advise your action contact when you've finished your work assignment. If you're not comfortable in continuing and it's not life-threatening, you want to pick up the phone and call the action office. Get in touch with us. We will advise you what to do. We may advise you to come back to our office to fill out an incident report and then have you go out for some immediate care if it's necessary, or some other steps may be taken. But most importantly, communication is key. We do not want you making decisions on your own, again, if it's not a life-threatening situation. Now, in the event you need immediate medical care, all actions will be taken immediately to protect your safety and to protect your health. I promise you that. That is our commitment to you. You are our employees. We care about you. We want you to be taken care of.